Bing, boing, bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddie One Skip. Hey guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddie One Skip. It's true, everybody does have a story to tell, but nobody takes the time to listen until now. Guys, this channel I hope to bring out the humanity in people, unfortunately, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, the thing that connects us all, the human string that is there while it's still there, while we still have it in this world. And that's the stories that I hope to bring onto this channel about that. So guys, we are all given basically a lot in life. We all have a lot in life. I don't know if it's predestined or if it's choices that we make that cause us to go down a certain road, or if it's just supposed to be the way it's supposed to be, like I say, predestined. We're told to be careful, watch where we walk, have good manners, to follow the instructions and to stay in our own lane. But we don't always do that. We're not always robotic in that sense. We often are curious. We often think we can make changes. Sometimes we think life isn't fair, so we try to take things into our own hands and make changes for us. We all live our lives the way we live our lives, and we all have our prices to pay in however we've lived our lives, whether it be by consequence, the things that we did wrong, or whether it just be what was given to us, the cards we were dealt, the best we can do. I've always said that the ladder is only out of reach for those people that don't even know what it looks like, don't even know it exists. If you know it exists, find your way to it if you need to get onto the second, third, fourth floor. It's a tool. We have to often look for the tools that we need to get by in this world. It's all a matter of survival, isn't it? They say only the strong survive, and some people say, well, people will get their karma. What comes out in the night will come out in the light, and that's true. Everything ultimately comes to fruition. Everything ultimately ends up happening. It's just a matter of the time. Does it happen on our time, or does it just happen in time? Right? So guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about Dee Blanchard. I know we only really know her from her daughter and the picture that her daughter and her daughter's lawyer and the rest of the Blanchard family has painted about DeeDee. But there was a DeeDee before the MURDER, somebody who took care of her daughter while the dad was nowhere in sight, though he claimed to pay child support. If you pay child support, you know where your kid is. If you pay child support, you fight to see your kid. Supposedly, Rod makes a lot of money, and he has, as he's worked as a boat captain. He couldn't fly to see his daughter, the one that he thought was going to DIE by the time she was 18, if we're to believe the story he said. But in the meantime, he made no efforts to go see her. Yet, Gypsy loves him. Gypsy loves her daddy for everything. But what about the abandonment? Does that make sense to anybody? Her mother, the one that was there, the one that sacrificed. And as we're learning, there was really not a lot of manipulation on DeeDee's part. Not when your daughter, who is legitimately sick and you don't know why, is also lying to you about her symptoms. How much did DeeDee actually know? As a single parent to a sickly child. Guys, join me on my first deep dive on this channel. Though there's other videos on this channel that have to do with other things, I want to bring, like I said, the humanity, the things that make us connect. So, Hold on, guys. Let's go for this ride. Thank you. How you doing, guys? I'm Toddie One Skip, and thank you for joining me on this channel, my second channel. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddie One Skip. Guys, we're going to do a little bit of a crossover here. I'm going to talk to you because this is about legacies. This channel is really focused on people that we wouldn't really know, and we only know this person, unfortunately, because of her daughter and what her daughter did to her. And yeah, I'm talking about Gypsy, but I want to really talk about DeeDee. I want to talk about DeeDee. DeeDee was born on May 3rd in 1967. She's only 4 years younger than me. She would only be 4 years younger than me. So DeeDee would have been 58 this year. And she's a Taurus. She was only 48 when her daughter had somebody take her life, if we're to believe her daughter's story. I think Gypsy had something to do with that. But what do we know about DeeDee? We know that her whole legacy has been torn apart, and everything about her has been so murked up in the waters that be because of what her daughter's behavior is. We also don't know how responsible DeeDee would be for her daughter's behavior. DeeDee was a single woman who was in love with hairbands, often told some embellishments, tried to get attention, was very pretty when she was younger, supposedly the apple of her mom's eye and her dad's eye. And she was brought up in Louisiana, Cajun, and she fell for a guy named Rod Blanchard who was 17. She was 24, but she lied about her age. They ended up getting married and supposedly having Gypsy. Rod woke up on his 18th birthday and said, yeah, I didn't sign up for this. And he bolted, and he became a half-assed dad. He started a new family with somebody else and has another child that wants nothing to do with the situation. I don't know what kind of relationship she has with Rod, if she has a relationship at all, but he kind of signed over all rights. DeeDee was a single mom. All intents and purposes, she was a single mom, and she was struggling with a sick daughter. She gave her world to her daughter. Everything was about her daughter. She taught her daughter everything. She lived, breathed. Even her daughter says, all I had to do is exist. My mom did everything for me. My mom made me her whole world. I would never do that. That's what Gypsy says. I would never do that. But in the meantime, we know that DeeDee's granddaughter should be cared for like that. There's talk that DeeDee was a grifter and DeeDee malingered. And I think that DeeDee did take advantage of situations, but I think, in all honesty, her daughter was legitimately sick. And Gypsy was compounding that by making up fallacies. Her legs stopped working. When she got the feeling back, she didn't tell her mom. She had her mom who had a severed foot of her own and had surgery on that. Her mom, who was heavy at this point, and had to carry her daughter when her daughter apparently didn't even need carrying. So what was it? She made this girl her whole world, took her on junkets to meet celebrities. She lived a life like that, a life that she probably never thought she would ever live. Not in a million years. Not DeeDee Petrie. She was the youngest, the most adored. And again, she was very pretty. And then she gave her identity to her daughter, and she became the mother of a sick child. A single mother of a sick child. Somebody rejected by the person that she loved, and her daughter rejected by the person that supposedly fathered her. Even though, I don't know, I still think maybe the daddy's somebody else, but it doesn't matter. We're talking about DeeDee. And DeeDee had to do it all on her own. So maybe some of the choices she made was out of desperation. You have to remember, Hurricane Katrina came in the middle of this in 2005. And here she was with a sick kid, a sick child. Gypsy was a sick child. They didn't know what was wrong with her. And then they found out there's a chromosome deficiency, a chromosome disorder. And then they didn't know which one. And that would take years later. And DeeDee keeps taking her kid to the doctor. But it's her own child that's telling lies. DeeDee seems to be excited and happy when things are working for her daughter. But her daughter says, no, not really. It's not working for me. DeeDee's been accused of speaking for her daughter when it comes to the doctors. But the FOIAs that have come out because of the unaliving of DeeDee show something different. I honestly believe that DeeDee created a monster in Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And then she had to live with that monster until that monster unalived her. It's a sad story. It is a sad story. DeeDee at one point had a lot of confidence, had a great bubbly personality, was liked by so many people. Did she get bitter as she got older, doing it on her own? Was she afraid what was going to happen with her daughter? How was she going to do it with a sick kid? What choices did she have? And then maybe somebody reached out and said, I'm sorry, let me help. And it opened up a whole avenue of help for her. And maybe legitimately, DeeDee went there for help. Maybe Gypsy was outgrowing these symptoms and not telling her mom because she liked the attention. Is that at all possible? And here's a mom trying to help keep her daughter comfortable and keep her daughter going. If her daughter's telling her things that aren't true, and we know Gypsy, now we know. How would you live with somebody who could bully you? And Gypsy did bully her mom. There's no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt. And I don't need proof. I see. We see. Common sense tells us. Because Gypsy's not right. Did she get that from DeeDee? Did she get that from Rod? Again, everybody liked DeeDee. They thought DeeDee was it. They'd call her mama DeeDee. She would make, these movie nights, and people would come over and they'd watch movies on the yard of the home, and she'd make popcorn, and she tried to give Gypsy as much of a life with friends as possible. Gypsy wasn't well liked on her own because of Gypsy. DeeDee was well liked. Gypsy was acting. I think DeeDee was actually very concerned about her daughter. She was all she had. She gave everything for her. She was the mom that a lot of us wished we had, where everything goes on hold except for the child, and the child becomes first. Not a child that's getting shots and stuff that you would hand off to somebody else because you can't bear to see it. It's not about you. Never about you. It's about the child. And it looks like DeeDee was there every time Gypsy had to have a shot or a surgery or something, legitimate surgeries. And she died in her own house at the hands and of the design of her daughter. Now her daughter says, I didn't do it. I talked somebody else into it. I got somebody else into it. And now, because it just can't be that Gypsy is Gypsy, she just unalived her mom because she didn't want to live like that anymore. She didn't want to have to take care of her mom, or she wanted to go out and be with grown-ass men that were 30 years older than her, or whatever it was. With her lack of world experience, yet she thinks she knows it all, which is still who Gypsy is today. DeeDee was trying to protect her from that. DeeDee was trying to protect her from that. And it's my opinion that that's how DeeDee and why DeeDee lost her life. Guys, when you have a dream and you see something in your heart and you build a life for your child and you go through that and there's struggles because your kid is sick and you try and you try, and the one that's fighting and lying to you the most is the one that you're trying to protect, and then it shifts. She gets older and now you're protecting yourself from her. And then she gets crazier and older and more curious. Somebody who's completely online, running the home. She's running the home at this point because DeeDee's not. That's my opinion. That's what I can gather. That's my common sense. And because of that, she wanted to protect the world from Gypsy. Because look at Gypsy. She's somebody that doesn't think and doesn't stop and doesn't care and doesn't want to until she gets in trouble, and then there's a stupid-ass apology. It doesn't mean anything until the next mistake because she doesn't learn anything because she doesn't stop. Same thing that happened with her mom. Instead of just stopping, rationalizing and saying, listen, let's just split the money and let me go on with my way. No, she's got to unalive her mom and then ruin the woman's legacy. The woman that cared for her. The one person that gave her life for her. Literally gave her life. But yet she loves her daddy because her daddy was there the whole time, and so was Christy. What about the mom? What about DeeDee? What about the sacrifices? I don't think DeeDee dated anybody after being a single mom because she made Gypsy everything. All those sacrifices. Your social life is only what you make for your daughter. Because your daughter's legitimately sick. And then when she grows out of it, she doesn't tell you. And when she starts feeling better, your daughter doesn't tell you. So you're stuck still trying to fight battles because you believe her and you want to know what's wrong. And Gypsy's loving it, lapping it up and loving it. And you're the bad guy. She gave you Munchausen by proxy. That's what she gave you when it was her the whole time. Coming up with stuff that wasn't legitimate, as well as the stuff that was legitimate. And somebody gave her an alibi to get her out of the crime of unaliving you. And the person that's doing the time is Nick, who got talked into it and GROOMED'd for 2 years. But here was a mom that ended up getting her daughter her own room, car, transportation, junkets, vacations to places that people will never go and see legitimately. Privileges, rubbing elbows with celebrities. Guys, that's who Gypsy and DeeDee were. They were once upon a time a mom and daughter duo that used to dress alike, look at each other with loving eyes, and it went on for years. And DeeDee spoiled Gypsy so much so that the monster she created ended up unaliving her. Because there was nothing else DeeDee could do for her. Because she had to take care of her mom. All the times that her mom took care of her. With a repaired, severed foot that was put together by nuts and bolts, picking you up and carrying you because you said that you couldn't walk, Gypsy. That's what her daughter did, and her mom picked her up and carried her like you would carry a victim of war out of danger, like you would carry somebody who collapsed right before the finish line to the finish line. Dee Blanchard, without all of this crap that her daughter has put her through. Guys, we know that DeeDee passed, I think, on June 9th. Gypsy has said on June 9th, but then she's covered herself and said June 10th to make Nick the culprit in this, the actual culprit in this. We honestly don't know why this had to happen for Gypsy, but Gypsy is the one that made this happen. She's trying to take her mom's legacy. We can't let that happen. Her mom was a single mom doing the best she could on her own. That's the truth. There was no ABUSE, except on the other hand. It's in my opinion that Dee Blanchard created a monster in her daughter, very much like Frankenstein. And just like Frankenstein, the monster ended up deleting the creator, which was DeeDee. Guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddie One Skip. Everybody does have a story to tell, but nobody takes the time to listen until now. Please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate it. Check out my other channel, Issues with Toddie One Skip. Thanks a lot, guys. Bing, boing, bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddie One Skip.